reasons why stewardship goes beyond tithing. Each one should use whatever gift he has received to serve others faithfully, administering God's grace in its various forms. 1 Peter chapter 4 verse 10. Living a life of purpose and significance begins with understanding the foundational principles of biblical stewardship. Unfortunately, many Christians have been taught a narrow definition of stewardship that only involves tithing and managing personal finances. This limited view of stewardship has led many to believe that everything outside of those arenas belongs to them and can be used however they want, especially their work. We need to recover a biblical view of stewardship. Stewardship with a capital S, if you will, that encompasses our whole lives, all of which belongs to God. Here are 6 principles that help to flesh out this larger definition of stewardship. Number 1, God owns everything. Paul writes in Colossians chapter 1 verse 16, "For by him all things were created, things in heaven and on earth, visible and invisible, whether thrones or powers or rulers or authorities, all things were created by him and for him." Number 2, everything we have is a gift from God. Everything you have, eat, drink, breathe, wear, or use it because of God's grace. We must echo Job's declaration from Job chapter 1 verse 21. "Naked I came from my mother's womb, and naked I will depart. The Lord gave, and the Lord has taken away. May the name of the Lord be praised." Number 3, God has given us authority over his earthly creation. The biblical term for this idea is stewardship. God, the creator, owner of everything, gives human beings provisional rule and ownership in this earthly realm. We see the first in the opening chapters of the Bible in what is called the cultural mandate, Genesis chapter 1 verse 28. Number 4, man's private property rights are established by God. The biblical idea of Christian stewardship firmly established the right to private property, as we clearly read in both the Old and the New Testament. At first, this might seem like a contradiction. If God owns the cattle of 1,000 hills, how can I put my brand on one of these cows? But consider this, my friends. If God gives you stewardship over a house and other property, that property, although a gift from God, becomes yours in a concrete, definite way. Only you have the responsibility to watch over and care for it. Those rights and responsibilities over your house and other things do not belong to the government, to the community, or to your neighbor. Think about it. Number 5, the work of our hand matters. This provisional stewardship provides us with incentives to be productive and strive toward the flourishing, the peace and prosperity of our cities, to which God desires for us. God has gifted us with skills and taught us to actually create more out of what we are given. This is what happens in the parable of the talents. The master gives resources to his servants with the expectation that they will increase his investment. That's what you've got to do as stewardship. As a good steward, you've got to increase the resources that is available, that is given to you. Number 6, we will be held accountable. Only you have the call to steward the gifts that God has given you. It is only in this concept of biblical stewardship that we find the beautiful balance between God's gift and man's obligation. It is by requiring stewardship of us that God sets up a wall of protection around what we possess, and at some point we will have to give an account to God for the way in which we exercise that stewardship. As Christians, our faith requires us to live out an understanding that ownership of property is God-given right, and the stewardship of that same property is a God-given responsibility. Stewardship with a capital S requires rethinking. Stewardship as accountability over all of our choices, decisions, and resources. This type of stewardship is all-inclusive, touching every area of life, including our time and our talent as well as our treasure. It is faithfully using whatever God gives us opportunities to fulfill, such as interests, skills, employment, family, talents, spiritual gifts, land, money, for His glory, to serve the common good and to further His kingdom. This is not only biblical, brothers and sisters. It helps us not just to want to do good, but to actually do good, to do the good we hope to carry out. May these inspiring thoughts bring conviction to our souls, that we may be able to live a life of stewardship, because stewardship goes beyond tithing. May God bless you all. Thank you.